This is 5-Minute Power Platform, where I'll be doing short experiments in Dynamics, Flow, Power Apps, and more. Today I'm building a SharePoint picture library and then using Flow to connect it to Azure Cognitive Services to automatically update each item with a textual description of the image. So let's start by creating the SharePoint picture library that we'll use to connect to Cognitive Services. So go into SharePoint, our SharePoint site, click New, and create a picture library. Give it a name. Let's go back into that Flow demo picture library we just created. And let's do a list view just so we can easily see all the fields we're going to be manipulating. And let's add in, let's remove some of these fields we don't need, and we're going to add in the description field because that's what we'll have Cognitive Services updating. But okay, now we have a simple view that just has the name of each file and the description. So I'm going to drag in a picture here, and we'll see that our toucan doesn't update because we haven't done anything to update it. But that's the field we'll be updating next. So let's go into Azure and provision the computer vision service by searching for the resource. We'll create a new, create the resource, give it a name. I'll just call it computer vision. It's going to need a subscription to be tied to. I'm using my MSDN account, but you can also provision a free one through Azure, so you can try this on your own. Be sure to use the pricing tier F0. That's also free. So once that's created now, we'll get the information we need to use it. Let's go to the resource here. So the first thing we'll need is the keys, which are here. And then we'll also need the endpoint API, which is on the previous screen. So now let's go into SharePoint and we'll create a flow that's going to use that computer vision API we just provisioned. So the flow we're going to choose is when a new file is added to SharePoint, create a custom action. That custom action is going to be our flow. So create here, and it's going to give us a starting point. It's going to trigger off when a file is created. So let's add an action off of this, and that action is going to be to get the uploaded file content. So SharePoint get file content. Now, depending on the type of list or document library you create, you may need to paste the URL for SharePoint in there, but you can add that in as a custom value. And then you'll get a list of the different variables. We're going to choose the identifier. That's the file identifier for the uploaded file. Now, our custom action for the next one then is we're going to do computer vision. So there's computer vision API. And we're choosing the describe image content, which is going to give us a sentence or so on what's inside the image. So we'll give this a connection name here. And then we'll need to give it a key and a URL. And those are the things that we saw quickly on the Azure page. So let's go back into Azure and choose computer vision service. We'll grab one of our keys, paste the key in there, and now we'll grab the API URL. Back button there, and it's listed there, number 2, or here. Paste that in there, and now this should all be connected. It'll tell you if it fails to connect. So now we'll feed that our file content, so it has something to interpret, and then next we'll get the results out. And so we're going to update the SharePoint item that was uploaded, paste in our site again. And then we'll need the list name. For the list name, we'll just grab the ID out of the first item. That was auto-populated for us, and so that'll make sure that we get the exact right list. It's going to be the ID for it, not the name. Now we need the ID of the list item we're updating, and then we need the information we need to update, and that's going to be the caption that got pulled from computer vision. And one thing you'll notice is that multiple captions can be returned, and so Flow automatically didn't apply to each. It's going to say, we'll do this for each one. We only want the first one, so let's update this for the first one, and we'll hit OK. I was telling me that I've already done this once when I was practicing it, so let's rename this flow so that it's unique. There we go. Now let's save it. One of the nice things is you can run a test. When you run a test, it's actually going to show you to you executing, and you can rerun the test against the same input criteria. Since we haven't tested this first, we can't rerun anything, so we'll say I'll perform the trigger action. And now we'll go into the picture library and we'll add a picture. So now I'll drag in our image. We should see an update here. So there's our picture of a flower. And now let's go watch our flow and watch it trigger off of this. Our flow failed. And so one of the nice things too is we get detail about what failed. So we can see the input criteria or the input parameters and what came out. One of the things I've found is that sometimes the image content isn't immediately available to the rest of the flow. And so as a quick fix, let's just add a delay. So allows SharePoint to kind of catch up with flow. And so what we can do is we can edit this and we can add another step between the first two steps of our flow. We'll add an action, and the action will just be a simple delay. So let's go back up here. We'll search for delay. Once we add it in, we just add in, let's do 5-second delay. So we'll put in a 5-second delay. Save it. And now we can rerun our test right where we left off. So we'll say run using the previous run. That's going to be the last image we uploaded. And we can see it flow. Watch our timer count down to 5 seconds. And then we should successfully get the file content. It will then submit it to machine learning. We can see it finished quickly. Now when we come back into our list, we should be able to see a description of what it found. We can kind of get a clue there too from some of the output. So we can see now it said it's a close-up of a flower, which is indeed what we uploaded. So we've already got our toucan in there, so let's add in some balloons here and let it run. And we should see in a few seconds, after that 5-second delay, we'll see a large balloon in the sky. So we can add in 4 now, and the flow will run 4 times. And after they all process, we'll start to see them update with their descriptions as well. One of the nice things about Flow is it logs each run and gives you some statistics as well. And so let's see the information from the runs that we just completed. So I'm going to go into see your flows. And this one at the top here, update SharePoint pick library with image description. We can see all the runs. The first failure we had, the test we did after that, and then the ones from the documents that we uploaded, the images that we uploaded. And it gives you the detail along each flow, and you can click in, you can see the input parameters and the output. There's our base64 encoded image, as well as the tags that it generated and some of the other data we got. So in just a few minutes, that's tying cognitive services into SharePoint using Flow.